Okay, President Joe Biden took his populist message to Wisconsin yesterday, the first stop on his administration's 20-state, 30-event post-State of the Union push to celebrate its accomplishments and outline future plans for economic growth. Speaking to members of a labor workers union at a training center in the village of DeForest, the president called out Republican lawmakers who booed him during his State of the Union address when he highlighted how some of them want to cut Social Security and Medicare.
They seem shocked when I raised the plans of some of their members and their caucus to cut Social Security. And Marjorie Taylor Greene and others stood up and said, liar, liar. Reminds me of liar, liar, house on fire. You have a senator named Ron Johnson. Ron Johnson on Social Security and Medicare, quote, we should transfer everything, so we have to consider everything every year. Come on, man. And then we found there was there's a senator named Mike Lee who was also yelling, liar, liar, house on fire kind of stuff last night. Well, I didn't even know this, but they played a video showing him. He said, when I said I didn't say the whole part. I said, leading Republicans want to cut Social Security and Medicare. And so they played last night something I didn't even know existed, a video of him saying, I'm here right now to tell you one thing you probably never heard from a politician. It'll be my objective to phase out Social Security, pull it up by its roots, get rid of it. Then he had, I'm quoting this now, Medicare and Medicaid are the same sort. They need to be pulled up. Sounds pretty clear to me. How about you? I remind you that Rick Scott from Florida, the guy who ran the U.S. Senate campaign, has a plan. I got his brochure right here. Has a plan. Here's what he says in his plan. Let me open it up here. Sorry. He says, all federal legislation sunsets every 5 years. If the law is worth keeping, Congress can pass it again. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid.
Wow.
Listen, let me tell you something.
Wow.
Let me tell you, that was not JFK, right?
I don't care.
At the inauguration. It may not have been Reagan and the Brandenburg Gate.
Nope.
That's politics 101.
Yeah.
And
you just
good
sit
politics.
there, you calmly go to a union hall, you hold up. Never anything more powerful than holding up your opponent's own words, especially after they make fools of themselves the night before and protest
Gesticulating.
too much. And I mean, Mike Lee, my God, that face. And then he's saying he wants to tear it up by the roots. Yeah. I mean, this is Jonathan Lemire.
Wow.
I mean, this is, again, this fits perfectly with what we've all been saying for 40 minutes. Republicans are talking about things that nobody cares about except their most intense, crazed base. And Joe Biden is showing how Republicans want to tear up by the roots, as he said, some Republicans, Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. And they just don't have the courage to, the rest of them, to say it out loud. Is this what we're going to see for the next 2 years?
A lot of this. So I was there in Wisconsin yesterday. And first of all, anytime a president brings props, that's a win. So he did. He was able to show off the Republicans' own words. You heard the boos in the hall. Wisconsin, a deliberate choice for his first stop post-State of the Union, arguably the most important swing state in the map, the one with the smallest margins of victory, one party or another. And the next 2 years, White House aides have told me are going to look a lot like this. Union halls targeting the jobs, showcasing the jobs he's created, targeting economic policies to give a little breathing room for those kind of workers, blue-collar workers, many of whom don't have the 4-year college degree. They're creating programs for those people, and they're going to talk about real issues that they feel about each and every day. And it is to call out those Republicans by name, to draw those contrasts about things that they matter, but also even some of the smaller stuff too, the resort fees, the junk fees, the airlines fees. Those got some of the biggest cheers in the room yesterday because, again, people feel those.
It really
and White South say to me, this is what the next 2 years are going to look like. The president going on the road, delivering these types of messages.
Lessons of Bill Clinton there, right?
Yes.
To talk about school uniforms that we can sneeze at, but mattered to parents, a lot of parents at that point. And the Biden strategy only worked because Republicans took the bait.
Right.
At the State of the Union. If Republicans hadn't heckled him and hadn't said liar, it would not have worked with the same force that it worked yesterday.
Yeah.
You could count on them.
And I think we all know how this is now going to go, right? They took the bait. And so the next couple days, maybe weeks, are going to be conversations about, well, would you cut Social Security? Would you cut Medicare? And then there's going to be some Republicans who say, you know, my party does need to get serious about this, and we do need to reform Social Security, and we're going to get into this perpetual loop. And I will say one of the great sort of unforced errors politically looks to be this Rick Scott plan, which was released last cycle.
By the way, Mitch McConnell. Yeah, Mitch McConnell was like, this is horrible. Yeah. We're not going to do any of it.
No one asked for it. It was Rick Scott saying, I want to put this out to enhance my own reputation. Biden's going to trot this thing out. He's going to dine on it for the next 2 years.
Because Gene, it wasn't like he was a backbencher in the House of Representatives. And by the way, for the record, just for people to watch, we never brought up MTG last year when she was a backbencher, because our idea was, you're a backbencher, you make a lot of noise. I know something about that. Ignore them, right? But now these people are moving to the front.
Exactly.
But you take a guy like Rick Scott. He was the most powerful Republican senator during the last term for running Republican campaigns. And he said, we're going to tax everybody. We're going to tax the poor. We're going to tax the middle class. We're going to tax the working class. And we're going to get rid of Social Security and Medicare every 5 years and make people vote on it again.
It was inexplicable then why he did this. Why did he come out with this thing that was clearly beyond the pale in terms of American politics? And I keep wondering whether the Republican Party, writ large, is just going to have to disown this thing at some point, because Democrats are going to pound them with it.
Well, they're trying to.
I mean,
Trump came out and said, don't touch the entitlement programs. McCarthy's come out and said, don't touch the entitlement programs. But this pamphlet exists. It's there. It's something he can point
And by
to.
the way, here's the problem for Kevin McCarthy, is McCarthy told them, don't scream or yell. Don't play into it. McCarthy said, we're not touching Social Security. We're not touching Medicare. Right. McCarthy, over the past McCarthy goes, he has a respectful meeting with Biden. McCarthy is trying to be a mainstream speaker for at least for a little while for all of those people that won in Biden districts. Yeah. And his party, he's got
they're going to vote him out if he gets too mainstream.
Right. He's got crazies that aren't letting him do that.